where they let off fireworks. But it seemed to be just some random person with letting off their leftover stock. It's quite loud though, wasn't it?
It lit up the whole sky. Did you see
I didn't look out the window. I just heard it.
I got a fright. I thought, oh, is this evacuation or am I running out? My bad leg.
Namashreshtam manumapi sachiputram atra swarupam rupam tasya grajam uruparim maturim gostavatim radhakundam girivaram aho radhika madhavasam prapto yasya pratita kripaya shri gurum tam natosmi. So today is Varaha Dwarasi. The Dwarasi are the waxing Shukla Paksha or Gaura Paksha of the month of Magha. And the day before, Nityananda Trayodasi. The Dwarasi after Vasant Panchami is Varaha Dwarasi. Magha, Shukla Magha Ekadasi, and then Varaha Dwarasi. Varaha Dev is the what do we have? Matsya, Karma, Varaha. It's the third of a scheme of 10 incarnations. There's different origins given for the incarnations. Many see them as Vishnu incarnations, Das avatars of Vishnu. And the Gaudiya Vaishnava perspective is to see them as incarnations of Krishna. So instead of, you'll see in some schemes listed that Krishna is listed as one of the avatars. But for instance, in the song we just sung, the Das Avatar Stotram by Jayadev Goswami, it's one of the older songs that we'll get in the songbook.
Oh, really?
Yes, because Jayadev Goswami lived perhaps in the 13th century. So most of the songs we sang were composed well after that. They were composed after Mahaprabhu's time. So pretty much, it's probably the oldest song in the book. There might be other songs, like the song to Tulsi Devi might be older, I'm not sure. But it definitely is the oldest, if not one of the oldest songs. But he composed, you'll see in that scheme, then the ninth avatar is listed as Lord Balaram, Haladar, Keshavadrita Haladara Rupa. So the scheme given by Jayadev Goswami is as the avatars of Krishna. So Varaha is, but whatever, if it's, some people get hung up on the issue, but however Krishna wants to manifest himself, whatever form, there's even different aspects of Krishna, not all forms of Swayam Bhagavan necessarily. So however Krishna wants to manifest himself in the world does not counteract that the original form is Swayam Bhagavan. So Varaha appears as the third incarnation of Krishna. First is Matsya, and then Karma, and then Varaha, and then Narasimha, and then Parashuram. No, then Vamana, then Parashuram, and then Ram, Balaram. No, Ram, Parashuram, Ram, Balaram, Buddha. Number 8, Buddha, Kalki. 9. That's still just 9, isn't it? Matsya, Karma, Varaha, Narasimha, Vamana, Parashuram, Ram, Balaram, Buddha, Kalki. 10. So Varaha is number 3. And if we look at the Das Avatar scheme, Das means 10 and Avatar means a descent of the divine. So the Das Avatar scheme, it starts in the water with Matsya, a fish swimming in the water. They all have their pastimes. And the pastimes are based on the principle of the Gita sloka, Yadahi Damasya Glanir Bhavati Bharata, where Krishna says he descends periodically when there's insurmountable problems on earth, that he will descend or send a delegate to rectify the problems, to take care of the malevolent elements and protect those people that are worthy of protection. In other words, to restore order. The protection offered, just as there's the supersoul accompanies the soul wherever the soul goes. Soul and supersoul. Atma Paramatma. So Bhagavan, Krishna, God, is also accompanying, you could say, the earth in terms of its welfare. He's there, ready to intervene, should things require such intervention. So the Das-avatars all have their pastimes, their function. Matsya rescues the Vedas. In other words, it's the preservation of spiritual knowledge. So Matsya appears in the water as a fish. And then the second avatar, known as Korma, who facilitates the churning of the ocean of milk, he is also a water creature, but is a tortoise. So turtles or tortoises, they're amphibious. So we have a creature that's purely water-based, aquatic creature, and then we move to a creature that's half and half, can do half and half. And then the next creature is creature avatar, is a boar. So the boars are fully land-based, but Varaha dives into the water to rescue the earth, which is sunk. We can take it as a metaphor, or we can take it literally. To rescue earth which is sunken, become heavy with the toxicity of many criminal acts and misbehaviors and rogue, tyrannical leadership. Tyrannical regimes have caused the earth to sink. So Varaha appears and rescues, restores the dignity and the purity of the earth planet. So we have a creature in the water, and then a creature who can exist both in and out of the water, and then a creature who is purely on land but dives into the water. That's Varahadev. So Varahadev's appearance day is today. And then we have number 4 is Narasimhadev, who is also a creature but on the land, but he's now moving into the human species from the animal. But he's not fully human. He's half human, half animal. Narasimha. Nara means man, and Simha means lion. So man-lion, Narasimha, comes to rescue Prahlad, to show that now it's getting personal. So rather than just rescuing knowledge and supporting the Mandara mountain as it's used for the churning of the milk ocean, and then rescuing the earth, now he's rescuing his devotee. And the form has developed from an aquatic creature to an amphibious creature to a land-based creature who enters the water to now a creature who is half animal, half human, Narasimha. And then the next one, number 5, is Vamana. Now Vamana is fully human, but he doesn't grow to full height. He's a dwarf. So it's moved from animal to human, but not full human, dwarf. That's Vamana, number 5.
But these all come at different times.
Yes, of course, not all at the same time, yeah. Different times, different ages.
Yes, yeah.
And then after Vamana comes Parashuram. Parashuram is a fully developed human, but he's acts as like a forest man with an axe. He deals to the Kshatriyas with an axe. Although a Brahmana, he's a forest dweller, and he wields an axe. And then afterwards is Ram, and Ram is considered the perfect development of humanity, a king. So there's like an evolutionary development of the Das-avatar scheme. So Varaha appears as number 3 and rescues the earth, planet Earth, Bhu Devi. The earth is seen as a female. So the sky and the sun is seen as masculine energy. The earth and water and earth are seen as feminine, and air and fire, these elements, division of the elements to male and female. So Varaha appears and he rescues the Bhu Devi, Mother Earth, and in the process, he has to dispatch a demon, a asura called Hiranyaksha. Hiranya means gold, and a yaksha is a kind of a race of, you could say, asuric, demonic type people. So he's a gold, hoarding gold. And his brother, he had a younger brother called Hiranyakashipu, And Hiranyakashipu ends up being killed by Lord Narasimhadev after he tries to kill his own son, Prahlad. So, Varahadev appears before Narasimhadev in the Satya Yuga, I think. I think the pastimes occur in the Satya Yuga. But that is the basic function of Lord Varaha, is to dispatch Hiranyaksha and who is tormenting the earth, and rescue the earth, lift the earth back up from its sunken condition. There is a Shalagram Shila, Lakshmi Varahadev Shalagram Shila, that is worshipped in the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math in Navadvip. And it came into the hands of the mutt up the road from Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, the Devananda Gaudiya Math, so the mutt of Guru Maharaj's godbrother Keshav Maharaj. But there was a lot of disturbance going on. It seemed that with Lakshmi Narasimha Shalagram, disturbances happened. Things were breaking and there were problems and obstacles and general disturbance. And they had heard that previously the Brahmana that had it also was experiencing problems when the Shalagram was coming into his custody. So anyway, the Shalagram was given to Guru Maharaj and the mutt. And Gurudev was charged with identifying the Shalagram, and he, through consultation of the Puranas, where they give they list the various signifiers, symbols that belong to each Shalagram, such as, I think, Garuda Purana, he was able to tentatively identify it as Varahadev, Lakshmi Varahadev. Then they consulted with one learned old Brahmana who had previously had some contact or had some custody of the Shalagram, and he confirmed that yes, it's Varaha. And it was either he that said that or Guru Maharaj proposed it, that he needs to be offered a special, very good quality sweet rice every day. And then he's satisfied and there's no disturbances of any kind. So they noticed there was disturbances until he was offered his high quality paramana sweet rice every day, and then he was happy. So that's why we say Lakshmi Varahadev Ki Jai in how Ki Jais. It's not traditional that all Gaudiya Vaishnava temples will do that, but we do that because Lakshmi Varahadev is worshipped in the central mat, in the Mula mat, in Navadvip. Lakshmi Varahadev Shalagram. And it's very appropriate because that part of Navadvip is known as Kola Dweep. And Kola means a boar, like a pig, like a male pig, a boar. Varahadev. So Kola Dweep is the place of Lord Varahadev. That's his area. And so he's come to reside and be worshipped at the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. He chose that place. Chose Guru Maharaj's Math. And the worship of Guru Maharaj and Gurudev. And there's also a connection there because Varahadev has the capacity to lift not only objects as in the earth, but the earth is a person. And not only is the earth considered, like in the Vedic view, everything is what's called anthropomorphic. You know this term, anthropomorphic? Anthropomorphic means everything is given a human identity. And not just in the Vedic view, in all traditional cultures, mountains would have personality. So it would be a personality of mountains and a god of the forests. Like, I first kind of encountered this, although I grew up with devotees. I also encountered it reading the Maori legends in New Zealand. The native people are called Maoris. And, you know, they print their legends, and a lot of New Zealand children will have the legends, the Maori, they call them myths or stories, legends, read to them. And all of nature has gods. All of the rivers are considered persons, and they have spirits, like human spirits that are that river. And the forest, like the god of the forest, is Tane. the Maori god of the forest, Tane. And there's the god of the sky and the god of mountains and lakes. They all have personality. This is called anthropomorphism. And this is also the Vedic perspective. You'll see it's shared, it's actually natural to the human mind as it integrates or lives in harmony with nature, that it doesn't just see itself as a person. It sees all of nature as persons as well. And from that perspective, that's how you naturally respect nature. It's only when you dehumanize everything that you feel that you can legitimately exploit it, which is what happened when the Western cultures went around the world, or some of them went around the world trying to dominate and colonialize and exploit. They had to dehumanize. You have to dehumanize to do that. Cut down all the trees. They're not living. Kill all the animals. There's no soul. So anthropomorphism, as opposed to anthropocentrism, which is to see yourself as the only human. You're the center. You're a human, you're the center, and everything else is there to be controlled, dominated, exploited to whatever degree, even to the point of killing it. So the Vedas saw everything as in an anthropomorphic model, and including the earth, including the planet we live on, as being a person, a female person. So she was in trouble. So Varahadev has a capacity of lifting up, you could say, the earth from a low place, rescuing them, bringing them up from a place of degradation, of disadvantage. But also personally, that is the function of Varahadev in terms of a person's individual spiritual life, is that he can rescue one from a place where they do not want to be and take them to a more salubrious place where they want to be, spiritually speaking.
And what form did he take?
A boar.
Oh, that's we're still on, yes.
Yeah,
Sorry,
the boar
yeah.
today. So he lifts the earth on his tusks,
Yes,
like this.
Yeah.
So that's the general function of Varahadev, is to lift someone from a low place and bring them up to a... Oh,
But Prabhu,
God lift me up where I belong, where the eagles fly. Yes?
So does it mean that we have to understand it as a metaphor, as just an image, that when he lifts up the earth, it's actually just an image, and the earth has not to be considered as a person? Or is it that we have to consider everything as having a conscious being a person?
That's the Vedic view. It's not just metaphorical. They see everything as having both a physical form that you can see with your eyes, but also a personification. So also having there's a spirit there behind it, which is of well, you can say can take on a human quality.
Independently
So,
of our projections, because
yes, it's nothing to do. It's their own identity. Yeah, it's their intrinsic identity.
Okay.
It's nothing to do with how we interpret it or visualize it.
Concerning the shalagram, for some people like me, it's a bit. I don't understand it very well. Shalagram has to be understood like the same way as the deity, the sculpture. I mean.
Yeah, it's like a deity. It's a form of Vishnu. Seeing that Vishnu is incarnating through that stone, through that fossil, you could say. They're found in Nepal, in a river called the Kaligandaki River in Nepal. That's where they're found. And through their vision, the Vedic rishis saw that they had divine quality, that Vishnu was is a portal between the spiritual world and the material world. Vishnu is naturally incarnating. So incarn means flesh, but in entering into that object, that stone. So they carried, just like Tulsi Devi represents or is the goddess of devotion. So these were seen as forms of Vishnu. This was their realization.
How are they recognized, these stones?
Through their markings. They have different markings. Yeah, so they're identified through the markings that are on the stone. They have different imprints. Yeah, you can go online and look at all the different shalagrams. A lot of them are painted. A lot of them get then once they're put on the altar, they paint them. I don't know how traditional that is. I think it is traditional to a certain extent, but if you want, but you can look at shalagrams that haven't been painted and you can see the markings on them.
But you mean they all come from the same place, right?
Same region, yeah. Except, Shalagram Shilas. So they're considered Vishnu. They're not worshipped so much in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And followers of Mahaprabhu don't worship them. They're more the part of the Brahminical culture of India, the Vaishnav Brahminical culture. But because there is a particular standard of vidhi, vidhi means rules or laws. So there's a standard of vidhi worship, archana, vidhi bhakti, that needs to be strictly adhered to in their worship. That's not that they can be worshipped in the Ragamarg. Raga bhakti is not suitable for Shalagram Shila. So if you're going to worship Shalagram Shila, you have to do it very strictly according to the prescribed rules and methods. And if you can't do that, then it's like getting into a relationship and then not living up to standard and then kind of abusing that relationship. So Guru Maharaj didn't really recommend at all for devotees, particularly Westerners, to go in and start doing Shalagram worship. He didn't really approve of it because they're not familiar with the standards. Even in India, it was only the Brahminic, the priestly class that did it, and the traditions were handed down, hereditary fashion, from father to son. They knew exactly what was required, and they lived lives of, you could say, according to the vidhi purity, standards of purity. It wasn't as if they had come from a hedonistic background and now they're struggling to live a moral, pure life. So, the environment and the culture was absolutely suited. The Brahminical environment and culture and psychology was suited and up to the standard of Shalagram worship. But for Westerners, it wasn't not that easy. And they're not natural Brahmanas anyway. A Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra in Indian society, traditional Indian society, wouldn't worship Shalagram. So then suddenly there's all these Westerners and it becomes a bit of a gimmick. Like up in Scotland, they have a temple, there's a farm there outside of Glasgow, and the one leader there decided, he's no longer there, but I'm not sure if he's any longer living, I don't think, but he decided a few years ago that he was going to develop a huge Shalagram collection. And he got hundreds of them, literally hundreds, and he put them in a big glass case. And maybe they were offering some incense or something. There's no way they were doing appropriate worship to each and every Shalagram every day. So they had them all in a glass case, like a museum exhibit, which is absolutely inappropriate. So these people with no idea of the standard of worship required for Shalagram collecting them and, under the delusion that they're performing some kind of worship, beneficial worship.
It's like
So,
worshipping false gods in some ways.
Yes, it becomes like idol worship.
Yeah,
but it's also disrespectful in the sense that, there's a process and there's a legitimate process and the form, the Shalagram Shila deserves a certain kind of worship. When it's like bringing a guest into your home and not honoring the guest. It's like bringing a guest into your home or bringing lots of people into your home and letting them just sit around, not even giving them a cup of tea. or a proper place to sleep if they're staying or anything, it is incredibly disrespectful. But so that is the kind of, really we can identify it as ignorance that some Western devotees have exhibited in their approach to Shalagram Shila. So Guru Maharaj pretty much prohibited it.
So no Shalagram in any altar in the Gaudiya Math?
There is Lakshmi Varahadev and the Mula Math. But generally you won't see so many Shalagram Shila, not in the Sri Chaitanya Saraswati. In ISKCON, where this detail wasn't so much, it wasn't touched upon because Prabhupada was dealing with other things. Then because of that, because there may have not been so many explicit instructions by Prabhupada, then devotees will tend to just, unless the parent explicitly tells the child not to go to the candy store, the child probably will go to the candy store and ate too much candy. So Anyway, when some of the Western devotees that were coming to Guru Maharaj, they were bringing their shalagrams with them. It was like, now I'm second initiated as a Brahmin and I got my little shalagram. It's like, oh, what one are you? I got a Shringadev. Oh, you got Varman Shasha. Wow, cool. Hey, did you see such and such? He's got an Ugra Nishrima. Wow. And people were swapping and etc. They were like dolls. It was like kids or boys collecting football cards or something.
Yeah.
And they brought them, and Guru Maharaj said, actually, give them to me. And they said, what, you want them all? No, we want to keep them. He said, no, you give them to me, you're not qualified to worship them.
Oh, wow.
So they gave them to Guru Maharaj, and then he gave them to Madhusudana Maharaj, and he said, take them back up to the Kali Gandaki river in Nepal. So Madhusudana Maharaj did a mission with a bag full of shalagrams, and he took them up, and we can ask him about that today when he comes, if we like. It's an appropriate day to ask him. It's Varaha Dwadasi.
But it just shows how people in general cling on to something that they felt would bring them closer to, that they felt the stone had a lot of significance, and
yes,
instead of concentrating on the bigger picture. Would I be right there?
To an extent, yes. I mean, the shalagram stone does have significance.
Yes, but not.
But it's to be worshipped in a way that is not exactly in line with Gaudiya Vaishnava worship.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Gaudiya Vaishnava worship is Raga Bhakti, it's of the heart. And the worship of Shalagram Shila is not in Raga Bhakti, it's in Vidhi, which means that there's a lot of rules and regulations. So it's appropriate to a certain class and kind of devotee, but it's not so. It's not. If you want to look at a very pure and fine line of the Rupanuga Sampradaya, the Rupanuga school, Mahaprabhu's teachings, then it doesn't really feature there.
That's the line we're...
Yes. And if people do want to worship a Shila as such, like a stone, then they can worship the Govardhan stone, the Govardhan Shila. And this is what Guru Maharaj teaches in this regard. I mean, this is what he says, which is a reflection of Mahaprabhu's, simply an expression of Mahaprabhu's standard when he gives the Shalagram Shila to Raghunath Das Goswami, which we'll read soon. Is it in this one? Or? Did we read? No, we didn't. It was Raghunath Das Goswami's appearance day. So we covered it a little bit. But it's chapter 6 here, the meeting of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Raghunath Das Goswami. So we're on chapter 4, so we're going to get to it in a few days, a couple of weeks. But we'll read how Mahaprabhu gives a Govardhan Shila to Raghunath Das Goswami that he himself had collected from Vrindavan, from Govardhan.
That's why we have this.
Yes.
It's not from there.
Yeah, because it's worship of Govardhan. And Govardhan is Krishna. Shalagram Shila is Vishnu.
I know what that's about. When I'm watching you on the mornings, I now know when you're talking about that, when you come to it and
yes.
The chapter that's it now, yes. So
yeah.
Sitting in, yeah.
You can wait for it.
Yeah.
The famous gift of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu didn't give a huge amount of gifts, so when it did happen, he wasn't flippant and casual with gifts. When it did happen, it was a very special occurrence. When Mahaprabhu gave a personal item or something of significance to someone, it was considered a great act of mercy and recognition. So he gives, of all things, Govardhan Shila to Raghunath Das Goswami, and some items connected with its worship, some paraphernalia, and also instructions on how to worship, including exact instructions. If there's a Tulsi Manjari and it needs 2 leaves, 1 leaf on either side of the Manjari, and you need 8 of those every day, or something like that. We'll get to it anyway in a couple of weeks. But Mahaprabhu had taken that Govardhan Shila from himself personally from Govardhan. And when Guru Maharaj started the Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math in 1941 or 42, he did so with the Govardhan Shila. That was the founding deity of the Math. He brought it from Vrindavan to Koladweep, Aparad Banjanera Pat, and it's the start of the Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math. Yeah.
19, what did you say, 41?
41, I think, or 42. 41. So, yes, it's the worship of Govardhan. And that's why you see in the mud, Matala Harijana Kirtana Range Pujala Rakapata Gaurava Bhange is done under the shelter of Govardhan, the worship of Govardhan. Govardhan is considered the highest place where a devotee will live. And
Govardhan Hill, is it?
Govardhan Hill, yes, Giri Govardhan. Giri means hill, Govardhan Hill. And they will visit Vrindavan, visit Radhakund. So, yes, a little bit of a tangent there, but Lakshmi Varahadev is the sole Shalagram Shila worshipped in the mud. So it's very significant this day. Varaha Dwadasi is more significant to the mud than it would normally be in a Gaudiya Vaishnav temple. Koladweep is the place of the mud, and Lakshmi Varahadev is worshipped there. So the function of Varahadev is to lift someone. So Varahadev can be prayed to, worshipped, to lift one or another person that one cares for from if they're down and out, if they're fallen and need to be kind of redeemed and rescued and lifted up and helped in life. Varahadev does that. That's the function of Varahadev. Jai Shri Varahadev Ki Jai. We'll continue with Chaitanya Charitamrita tomorrow because it's a bit late. But just to recap where we are so we don't forget, we can carry on smoothly tomorrow. We're having a conversation between Mahaprabhu, Sanatana Goswami and Haridas Thakur, and it's concerning Sanatana Goswami's feelings of despair, really, like feeling extremely despaired as a result of his own humility, but he's got the skin condition, or this health condition was causing weeping abscesses all over him, and he's thinking that he can't associate properly with the devotees, particularly Mahaprabhu. And Jagadananda Pandit is there. That's right. So there's Jagadananda Pandit, Sanatan, Haridas, and Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu is chastising Jagadananda, kind of rebuking him jokingly, and praising Sanatan. And Sanatan says that, well, you have a more intimate relationship with him. That's why you have to be formal with me, because we don't know each other. And Mahaprabhu says, no, it's because I'm inspired naturally, genuinely to praise you, because you're worthy of praise. And then Haridas Thakur joins in and says, actually, it is your it is your nature as Patita Pavana, yes, your mercy to accept us and love us due to your attribute of being merciful to the fallen. And then Mahaprabhu says, listen, Haridas and Sanatan, now I'm speaking the truth about how my mind is attached to you. So this conversation will continue, and then we'll have Mahaprabhu embracing Sanatan and his disease, his health condition being cured. All right. Should we sing Hari Haraya?
Okay.
Gurudev Ki Jai, Varahadev Ki Jai.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yaravaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madan Namoha.
Charana Sevi Bhakta Samivasa Janame Mura Ei Abhinasha Jai Basari Jave Braje Koila Basa Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakasha Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Madhyayamana Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Padma Koriyasha Hari Nam Sankirtana Koe Narottama Dasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare
Jai Sukhanipata Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Sundar Radha Giri Dhari Jil Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Vishnu Pajala Bhakti Sundar Gopati Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Jai Vishnu Pajala Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Vishnu Pad Bhagavan Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Rupanu Guru Gaur Ki Jai. Jai Vishnu Pajala A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai, Sri
Jai.
Chaitanya Saraswat Mat West London Chapter Ki Jai. Sri Varaha Deva Mahotsava Titi Ki Jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai.
Jai. Gadadhar Pandit Prabhu Ki Jai.